everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. Now then, here's a little test to see who was listening when we made the apple and blackberry tarts, and I suggested that you keep back some blackberries in the freezer because I was going to show you how to make jam. Well, today's the day. So, hopefully you have got some in your freezer. Otherwise, there are actually still some blackberries out there if you want to go out and pick some, but they are a bit few and far between now. Otherwise, you'll have to buy them in the shop. Well, anyway, I obviously kept my blackberries in the freezer because I knew this day was coming. So here they are. I've got a kilo of blackberries here. I've got sugar, of which you'll also need a kilo, always the same fruit for sugar. Lemon juice for the pectin, because blackberries are quite low in pectin, even though wild blackberries have got more pectin in them, but the lemon juice will provide the pectin to make the jam jammy. So we need a saucepan to do it all in, and we need some jars to put it in the end. So let's get jamming. Okay, before we start making the jam, I want to explain to you about sterilising the jars because it is really important. I did do a step-by-step guide on how to do this back in one of my earlier videos at the beginning of lockdown, in the marmalade video. So if you want to go back and watch that, then that's fine, it's up to you. Basically you need to take the labels off your jars, you need to wash your jars in soapy water, and then you need to put those jars into the oven for 15 minutes at about 150 degrees for them to be properly sterilised. And with the lids, you need to boil them in some water, not for 15 minutes, but for about 3 or 4 minutes. And then you can leave those out to dry and then everything will be fine. We're going to use about 4 actual jam jar sized jars for this recipe. Or if you haven't got that size and you've got smaller jars, you'll probably need a few more. So if you can just kind of work that out, that's great. Also, at this stage, if you put a couple of saucers into the freezer, ready for the settings test. Is that what I mean? Yes, ready for when we're going to test the jam to see if it's set. Okay, first things first, let's juice the lemons. General rule is that you need 1 tablespoon of lemon juice for every 200 grams of blackberries. So that's 5 tablespoons. So let's get juicing. Now I'm going to see if how many tablespoons we can get out of there. I'll just put them in a separate little bowl. Glass will do. Oh, dripping out. 1, 5. Okay, I've got more than that. So you might not, it depends how juicy your lemons are, you might not need the full 2 lemons. Yeah, try 1 first, my lemons will happen to be very juicy. Okay, so next we want to get the blackberries in the pan. Nice. Then we're going to add the sugar. We add the lemon juice. Right, we're going to stir this round. Let the juice absorb all the sugar. Now some people leave this to absorb for hours, but you don't need to. This is the quickest way. I'm also going to chuck in 2 of these lemon peels for an extra bit of pectin. Now we need to put this on a low heat at first, just for the sugar to dissolve, and then when it's dissolved we whack it up and we boil it, and I have it on a rolling boil. Okay, you need to be stirring this now all the time while you're waiting for the sugar to dissolve. Keep stirring it.
Okay, now once your sugar has dissolved, which you will know because you won't feel it gritty anymore, or you won't hear it gritty, if you know what I mean, at the side of the pan. So once that's dissolved, then like I said, we can whack it up now. We want it to bring it to the boil and have it on a rolling boil. Okay, so once it's come to the boil and you've turned it down a little bit, so it's on this continuous rolling boil, you want to leave it for about 10 minutes to start with, before we do the jam test, basically, on the saucer. Yeah, so give it 10 minutes and we'll give it its first try. If you want your jam to be smooth rather than full of whole fruits, you can give it a little mash. Mash up the blackberries a bit. Obviously they will break down anyway, but yeah, if you want a smoother consistency, then yeah, you can give it a bit of a mash. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes now, maybe 12. So we're going to put some of this, spoon a little bit, onto the saucer, one of the saucers that you've had in the freezer. And we're going to put that in the fridge for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to show you how we know if it's ready. Okay. So the way we test this to see if it's ready is we run a finger through it, and if it wrinkles, it's ready. Well, that clearly hasn't wrinkled. It's getting like a thick consistency, but it's definitely not ready. So we'll put this back on for try another 5 minutes and see what it's like then. Okay, so I left it for 10 minutes, and as you can see now, when you run your finger through it, you see, it wrinkles, which means it's ready. It's reached its setting point. So let's get it in the jars. Okay, so now we want to pour our jam into our hot jars. I find the easiest way to do this is to pour the jam out of the pan and into a jug. You need a grown-up to do this because the jam is boiling hot. So if you take the lemon halves, the lemon rinds out of the jam, and then we're going to pour it in the jug and we're going to pour it in the jars. Okay, I have got a jam funnel. Of course I have. But this should be runny enough to just pour straight into the jar without having to have a jam funnel. So I'll try and we'll see. Oh, it's a bit far back. There we go. Yeah, see, that's pouring in quite easily. So we'll pour that to the top. You can tell this is not my first time. Okay, now you need to get your lids on. Okay, so there's your jars filled. You'll probably hear the lids go pop because of the pressure from the heat of the jam, that's fine, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so let's just do the washing up now then, is it?
Obviously, we can't do the taste test today because the jam's absolutely boiling. But take it from me, it is delicious, spread on a bit of toast or on a crumpet. So if you're keeping all of the jam for yourself, that's fine. Just put it in the cupboard, it'll last for ages. But if, like me, you're thinking of giving it away as gifts, because, let's face it, the C word is coming, dare I say it, Christmas. Yes. So if you want to put labels on and bows and ribbons and stuff onto the jars, again, in my marmalade video, I give a step-by-step guide on the best way to do this, because everybody loves a homemade gift.